be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solutions available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employee self-service empowers your employees with easy and quick access to manage their profile, process claim and reimbursement with no headache, apply for leave, on-duty and overtime payments, generate pension as well as tax and pension deductions analysis, and a lot more. With HumanManager, you can also access an employee information system for updated personal and corporate information, leave management for all leave types, and paid time off work for different grades of employees, automate your expense management including claims, reimbursement, loans, and advances, all under one umbrella. Stay in charge of exit formalities through our exit management model. Deploy timesheet for the control of labor costs and working hours. Boost performance through our industry-leading appraisal model. Visit humanmanager.net for a demo today and enjoy the benefits of trailblazing payroll and HR software solution. For more information, email us at info@humanmanager.net. Maintaining your organization's payroll and managing employees' database manually could be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solutions available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employee self-service empowers your employees with easy and quick access to manage their profile, process claim and reimbursement with no headache, apply for leave, on-duty and overtime payments, generate pension as well as tax and pension deductions analysis, and a lot more. With HumanManager, you can also access an employee information system for updated personal and corporate information, leave management for all leave types, and paid time off work for different grades of employees, automate your expense management including claims, reimbursement, loans, and advances, all under one umbrella. Stay in charge of exit formalities through our exit management model. Deploy timesheet for the control of labor costs and working hours. Boost performance through our industry-leading appraisal model. Visit humanmanager.net for a demo today and enjoy the benefits of trailblazing payroll and HR software solution. For more information, email us at info@humanmanager.net. Maintaining your organization's payroll and managing employees' database manually could be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solutions available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employee self-service empowers your employees with easy and quick access to manage their profile, process claim and reimbursement with no headache, apply for leave, on-duty and overtime payments, generate pension as well as tax and pension deductions analysis, and a lot more. With HumanManager, you can also access an employee information system for updated personal and corporate information, leave management for all leave types, and paid time off work for different grades of employees. Automate your expense management, including claims, reimbursement, loans, and advances, all under one umbrella. Stay in charge of exit formalities through our exit management model. Deploy timesheet for the control of labor costs and working hours. Boost performance through our industry-leading appraisal model. Visit HumanManager.net for a demo today and enjoy the benefits of trailblazing payroll and HR software solution. For more information, email us at info@humanmanager.net. Maintaining your organization's payroll and managing employees' database manually could be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solution available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employees
All right. Good morning once again. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So we are starting the conversation right now. All right. Thank you for joining once again. So today's topic, salary benchmarking techniques, attraction and retention drive. There is no gainsaying that this topic is critical for any organization striving to stay competitive in the evolving job market. All right, I'll begin by saying that effective salary benchmarking is essential for attracting top talent and also retaining your best employees by ensuring fair and competitive compensation. Now, our goal today is to provide you with valuable insight and practical strategies from leading experts in the field. Once again, I say good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second edition of our Corporate Catalyst Conversations webinar series, proudly brought to you by HumanManager. I am Fawehinmi PROSCI, Business Development Manager here at HumanManager Limited, and I am delighted to be your moderator for today's session. Now, this webinar is designed to be interactive, so we encourage you to engage actively, of course, to ask questions, and also make the most of this learning opportunity. And then we will have a dedicated question and answer session towards the end of the discussion. So please, I want you to get your notepads ready and also water to sip in the course of this conversation. All right, before we delve in and we go into the conversation proper, we'll be doing a little exercise this morning. So we'll be breathing in and breathing out. So I want us to get pumped, ready for this conversation this morning. So if you don't mind, I want you to please All right, I want you to please join me this morning as we go into this breathing exercise. So I'll be counting 1 to 5, seconds. Then we'll breathe in, and then we are going to breathe out. All right, are we ready, please? All right, so let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you can release it. Great, great, great. Okay, I think we should do that one more time. Let's do it one more time. Okay, are we ready? All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wow, you can clap for yourself. All right, great, 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 great. All right, before I introduce our keynote speaker for us this morning, and of course our panelists this morning, we have I would like to engage us in a poll this morning, and the purpose of this poll is to get our perspectives, on today's topic. Yes. All right. So the poll will be coming up right now on your different screen. So we want you to go ahead and provide answers in the comment section. All right, thank you. All right, so the first question is, following your experiences, which of the following factors significantly influences salary structures in Nigeria and across Africa? So this poll is going to be up for just a minute. So we want to hear your view, want to see your perspective concerning that. All right, I take that again. Following your experiences, which of the following factors significantly influences salary structures in Nigeria and across Africa? All right. Okay, I can see we are already doing that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's keep that coming. Let's keep that coming. All right. And the second one here says, on an overview, what are the most common reasons performing employees leave their jobs in Nigeria and across Africa? Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Keep it coming, keep it coming, keep it coming. I like that we are giving our perspectives about this morning. Thank you, keep it coming. Oh, great. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, thank you. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, that brings us to the end of the poll. Please watch out. We still have one coming up towards the end of the conversation. So we will need to engage you one more time. All right. So like I noted earlier on, we have a keynote speaker and we have a panelist for today. But just before we do that, would like to hear a welcome address from the Managing Director of HumanManager Limited in person of Aderonke Adegoke. Over to you, Ma.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, how are you doing?
Thank you.
Great to have you here, everyone. I see that we still have people that are joining. First of all, thank you, everyone, for trying to even dial in. I know Lagos has been wonderful in traffic because Opeana are in Lagos, but we have offices in Lagos and Abuja, and we also have colleagues around the world as well. Thank you so much. I was speaking with our colleagues earlier on this morning, and I told them my first salary, and everybody had a good laugh, was 7,000 naira. Yeah, I know I can see your face. No, I'm not going to say what I earn now. I'm hoping that it will continue to grow, right? But I mean, it's been an awesome ride. Thank you, everyone. Why we chose this topic is because a lot of companies have also spoken with us. They've asked us different questions about insights on what other companies are doing. Of course, we can't give that out, but we can give you an idea of what the industry is like as well. This is like an eye-opener to a lot of information that we're going to start providing to our customers as well. And also we'll open up to the general HR industry where you'll have a benchmark of salary ranges in the government sector, in the private sector, and then other countries as well that are participating in other services that we run as a company. And then we also have other partner companies that we talk to that give us information. Fortunately and unfortunately, one of the major criteria for you even looking at salary is the economic situation of the country. And I'm not talking about Nigeria, but anywhere where you are. And then you now look at the industry as well, the skill, the expertise of the individuals that you're employing. And then you also look at that industry where you're servicing. It's been interesting. I know that a lot of companies now are actually asking for dollarized salaries. I wish I could see those figures, but let's see. I mean, it would be nice to open up, to talk to everybody, to see how the industry is going, what people are thinking of, how you're seeing it, how we are seeing it. We have a lot of young people that are upcoming as well. We know that you're interested in having an idea of what people should be earning in Nigeria and other parts of the world as well. The truth is, you also need to understand that even when you're benchmarking as an individual, you're benchmarking yourself. Know where you are. Yeah, in Nigeria, you're also going to meet employers. And when those employers are talking to you, try not to say that I'd like to earn in dollars in this amount, because they're also looking at you and saying, what value are you bringing to me? So make sure that you can sell yourself, make sure you are sellable. And then the organizations as well, can you sell to those individuals? Because we also need to attract the right talent. So it's not just about us, as in me, as an individual, but it's both ways. So benchmarks that we actually want you to do is you look at the benchmark from the company perspective, and you also look at the benchmark from the skill perspective and individual perspective as well. So I don't want to take too much of your time. There's so much going on in the industry, and I hope that our insights will be beneficial to everybody. And thank you so much for participating. Have a great one. Bye.
All right, thank you very much, Aderonke Adegoke. That was the Managing Director of HumanManager Limited, giving us our welcome address.
I'm sorry I'm giving you away. Congratulations on your baby. I had a baby this morning. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. Yes, thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Aderonke Adegoke, once again. All right, it is time to go into the conversation this morning, and I will be introducing first our keynote speaker. All right, our keynote speaker this morning is Professor Yomi Fawehinmi this morning, and I think everyone wants to see your face. I know you are not in Nigeria, so I think I would like to see your face. Let everyone see your face. Just say hi. Say hi. Prof.
Yeah, good morning. Can you see my face now? Good morning.
Prof, I'm not sure I can see your face here. I think it's coming up gradually. All right, so while we wait for Prof to come up, all right, so I will take a quick citation of Professor Yomi Fawehinmi. So Professor Yomi Fawehinmi holds a first-class bachelor's degree in estate management. He holds postgraduate degrees in education and sustainable development. He lectured at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, and also the University of Lagos, the Lagos Business School, the SEMA Center of University of Ibadan, and St. Clair College in Windsor, Canada. Yomi is a human resources professional, career coach, author, consultant, and practitioner. One of his books was rated one of the top 10 nonfiction books in Nigeria. Prof, once again, you're welcome to this conversation. All right, up next. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish his citation. Professor Yomi is married to Abosede, and the marriage is blessed with 2 sons. He has appeared on several international media platforms and continues to feature at different events and learned programs. Thank you, Prof, for joining us this morning. Now, on to our panelists for this morning. Oh, Prof, good to see your face. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, you are welcome to the conversation. You're looking, yeah, I can see you're really, really prepared to give us your speech this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Thank you once again. All right, quickly, let me also introduce our panelists for this morning, this conversation. We are privileged to have two esteemed panelists with us this morning. First, we have Aderonke Adegoke. Now, Aderonke is a manager in the Managed Services Unit of Tax, Regulatory, and People Services of KPMG Advisory Services. With over a decade of professional tax and regulatory advisory experience, she's been delivering values to our clients across various industries and sectors of the economy, including government, financial services, consumer industrial markets, oil and gas, power and utilities, manufacturing, telecommunications, media, technology, and many more within Nigeria, Africa, and Highland. Aderonke's areas of specialization cut across advisory and compliance work for local and multinational companies in various industries, management of withholding taxes and value-added taxes, personal income tax planning. Sorry about that. All right, I'll take that again. Aderonke's area of specialization cut across advisory and compliance work for local and multinational companies in various industries, management of withholding taxes and value-added taxes, personal income tax planning, due diligence and reviews, advisory services in planning and administration of pension and provident funds. She has also obtained relevant experience in other jurisdictions through a secondment to the KPMG Highland practice, where she worked on several engagements involving clients in the consumer markets sphere. Aderonke also has experience in managing high net worth individuals' personal income tax matters. Well, as she continues to grow in her career, Aderonke remains dedicated to driving positive outcomes for our clients and contributing to the success of KPMG Advisory Services. A round of applause for Aderonke. Aderonke, you're welcome. I know you're on this call too. Would you like to just say hi? You're on mute.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, good to have you, Aderonke. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right. Up next, we have also on the, our panelist, we have Esther Seye-Ogun. Now, Esther Seye-Ogun is a human capital management professional with over 11 years of experience specializing in total rewards. She currently is a manager at Deloitte West Africa, where she leads the total rewards team in designing and implementing comprehensive compensation and benefit strategies for clients across various industries. Now, Esther holds an MBA from Nexford University and a BSc in Estate Management from Obafemi Awolowo University. She is a certified professional in Human Resources International and a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, and also a member of the National Society for Leadership and Success, New Jersey in USA. Esther, it's good to have you joining us this morning on this conversation. Would you like to say hi to?
Oh, yes, thank you so much, Fawehinmi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning, Esther. All right. Thank you for joining us. And then we look forward to your valuable insights and, of course, your perspectives on today's topic. Now, without further ado, we want to begin this conversation with our dear Prof, Professor Yomi Fawehinmi's keynote address. Professor Yomi Fawehinmi, the floor is yours now.
Good morning. Okay, good. Okay, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us for this interesting conversation, and also to very especially thank the leadership of HumanManager for giving me the privilege. I do not take it for granted. For me, it's always an interesting opportunity to talk to people. I mean, when you consider there are over 7 billion people in the world, and then you get called to come and make presentations. I mean, it's not something to take it for granted, you know. So you're always elated, excited, and happy that you're part of something great. So thank you to everyone and for those joining. I also want to thank and appreciate the panelists for the privilege to join you on this. I think we're going to have some fun talking together. My role is just to quickly lead a conversation around the issues about salary benchmarking. And I'm currently sharing my screen. I hope you can see my slides at the moment. Please confirm you can see my slides. If you can put in the chat box, I'll be happy. Okay, thank you. Now, my role is to talk about salary benchmarking techniques and then talk about attraction and retention drive. That's my job, and I have the next couple of minutes to do that. And I hope you get value from what I'll be willing to share. Of course, we're going to have a dialogue afterwards, and then people can contribute and ask questions and also make clarity. Okay, if I have only one slide to show, this will be the only slide I will show. Now, that's not me, you know, I'm not as handsome as that. Yes, let me thank the MD for also telling us the moderator just had a baby. Congratulations. I wish you all the best, and I wish the baby all the best. So now you have a new status. I saw that you were grinning, and I'm blushing too. Congratulations. Now, if I had one slide to show, this is the only slide I will show, and the only thing I will mention in my single important, critical, vital, and what I don't want you to forget is the fact that you're in a market for talent. A couple of years back, one of the big consulting firms called it the war for talent. I didn't agree with the use of the term war because of the negative connotation of war, but you are in a market. So I would prefer to call it a market, not a war. But you know, sometimes the market could be very intense. That seems to look like a war. Now, because you are in that market, there are sellers and there are buyers, and there's a commodity. And in the case of talent, employees are like the commodities, and there are various buyers, right? The employees are the ones selling themselves, and they're selling their skills, selling their talent, and you are in that market to buy. Now, there are other buyers, and those other buyers are paying. You must pay better than them if you want the best talents. It's just like if you went to the market to buy meat or to buy potato or to buy whatsoever. If you don't pay what others are paying, you're not going to get talent at the end of the day. And that is the whole conversation around benchmarking. So what is benchmarking? Because let's start a little bit theoretically. What is benchmarking? And again, I'm looking at the people on the call. Many people are in HR, many people are in total remuneration, some guys are in roles that have to deal with this. Basically, what is salary benchmarking? Salary benchmarking is comparing compensation practices. I'm in company A, I am looking at what company B pays, and I'm using that to get insight into what I should do. Now, because they are not only two companies, so it's not like you are comparing company A to company B, is that you are comparing your company to the market. So the market is company A, B, C, D, E, F to Z or to wherever it is. So you're benchmarking to check, okay, what are the others doing and what should I change? Theory and classical literature says that it's different from a traditional salary survey where you just want to ask questions. The idea of benchmarking is a strategic input into your talent management and talent retention process, because it helps you to get data. That's what you're getting from the benchmark. The benchmark does not change your organization. The benchmarking gives you data of which you're supposed to sit down to derive insights and then make changes in your organization. At the end of the day, what you're doing this for is the concept about talent management, because you want to be able to attract, select, and also retain the people that work for you. Now, because of that, you are deliberately focusing on ensuring. Remember, and I always try to remind people of this. If you remember when you were in secondary school, they taught us characteristics of living things. If you remember, when I was in secondary school, and that was just like a few years back, I mean, as a young person, right? If a couple of years back, I was taught that the characteristics of living things is Mr. Niger. If you remember, if you schooled in Nigeria, after some time, when my sons got to secondary school, they said it was Mr. D Niger, with D meaning dead. Now, there are two things in that Mr. Niger that provides a context for benchmarking. One is movement. You remember the first M is movement. That means living things move. Then there's a second thing. The I in the Niger is what is called irritability. Remember, the idea is that human beings respond to stimuli, respond to external stimuli. So from biology or integrated science, you see M for movement, I for irritability. And the whole idea is that employees are human beings, right? And therefore, those employees understand irritability. They see changes in salary. You know, if you remember when they were teaching us integrated science then, they were using light to tell us irritability. And they say, when you grow a plant, the plant moves towards the light. Now, in the context of the workplace, the employee is like the plant, and the employee moves towards better salaries. That's the irritability concept in the workplace, right? Now, because the employee moves towards where the salaries are better, you have to benchmark. If you do not benchmark, then the employee will do the other characteristics of living thing, which is movement, right? The M in Mr. Niger. So the employee will move because he has seen better salary. So the idea of benchmarking is for you to ask yourself that simple question. Before the employee moves, because he has seen a better salary, I got to move. So I got to know what my colleagues are paying and ensure that I keep my people. So who is benchmarking? Number one, employees are benchmarking. Yeah, your employees are benchmarking. If you don't know, please know that they're checking the prices of, they're checking what other employers are paying people that have similar skills. And please don't ever forget this. Your employees believe that they are more skillful than you believe they are, right? So if you believe that your employees are skillful to the level of 70%, that employee believes is at 95% and is comparing his salary to 95%. Right? So your employees are benchmarking. Your current employees, the guys that currently work for you are currently benchmarking, right? They're trying to check whether that's being paid. They're trying to see what other competitors are paying. Number two, your potential employees are also benchmarking. When you put out the advert to say you want an engineer, the people that want to apply want to know how much you pay. And of course, the stakeholders of these two categories of people, those people have wives, they have children, they have relatives, they are also benchmarking. So that's why, for example, somebody gets a job and they say, your cousin just got a job. And they say, where? He got a job in Shell or Chevron or KPMG or Deloitte or HumanManager. People are like, well, he's a big boy now, because they have an idea of what those organizations pay, you know. So employees are benchmarking. Organizations are also benchmarking. You are supposed to benchmark. Your competitors are benchmarking. New entrants, people who just came into the industry are benchmarking. Then the people who want to potentially poach your staff, the people who want to steal your staff, they're also benchmarking, right? And trying to get the data. And of course, other institutions like government, higher institutions benchmark. I mean, I teach in higher education in North America, and we always benchmark. We want to know what our graduates are paid. Now, I know UI or Unilag may not care about that. I mean, which is part of the challenges. Actually, where I work, the amount of money, the amount of grant we get from government is a function of how many of our graduates get a job within 6 months and how much they earn. Right. So I have an obligation to teach them to get a job within six or 9 months, and also to earn very well. If our graduates don't get a job between 6 to 9 months and they do not get good salaries, the grants to the school reduces, right? So that's part of why people will say, oh, higher education is better. It's not as if we are better teachers. I was the same person that was teaching in FUTA, that was teaching in UI, that was teaching in Unilag, that is also teaching here. My brain did not change. But the question is that there is data that government uses to determine how much we get at the end of the year. So government is also benchmarking at the end of the day. So using the language of soccer, why do organizations benchmark? Why should we benchmark? What makes it important to benchmark? Number one is that you benchmark to playoff first. to play defense. I'm using the terms of soccer. My good friend and somebody I've known since when I was a baby, Mr. Yusufi there. I know he's a soccer fan, lover of EPL. Now, so you benchmark to play defense. And by defense, I mean you are keeping your current staff. You're trying to know, what do I do to keep the guys I currently have? So you benchmark to play defense. You also benchmark to play offense. In that case, you are benchmarking to use the data to attract new people, right? And then, of course, you play the midfield game. That's when you hold the balance between both. And that's when, for example, you are trying to check, am I paying well to sustain my human capital? Am I paying well to ensure failure? So benchmarking is a defense scheme, is a defense tool to ensure you retain your current staff. It's also a tool of offense to ensure that you can get new people and then you can hold your people in the midfield. Now, I don't know the background of everybody, so I'm not going to bore with the technicalities of benchmarking, but there are just 4 critical things when you're dealing with benchmarking. Number 1 is data. Yeah, you're getting data on what is being paid elsewhere, what is being offered elsewhere. So it's about getting data. Number 2, it's about comparing the data. What we do compared to the data we have, right? When we compare it, then number 3, we get insights. Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? Are we doing below? Are we doing above? And then you take action. All those 4 things are the basic things that makes for benchmarking. And it's important for us to put that at the back of our mind, because many organizations spend money and time getting after the data, doing the comparison, but they don't get the insight. They don't do anything about it. That's the problem we have in many organizations. They know they're not paying well, but they're not doing anything about it. In one of the slides, I'm going to explain what can you do when you realize that you're not where you should be in terms of payment, right? So let's talk about the nuts and bolts. 5 methods. I mean, there are 6, 7 in classical literature, but I just want to emphasize 5 methods. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I believe, with the benefit of going to Google or going to AI, you can get this from there. So I'm not going to spend too much time. This is not classroom in the context of talking to my students. This is talking to professionals. So many of you will not use these methods because maybe it's not your key job, but 5 methods. Number 1 is the classification method. The challenge with the classification method is that it's very, very subjective, right? You just classify a job and you say the doctor should earn more than a nurse, like we do in Nigeria. And we don't care whether the doctor just graduated from last year and the nurse has 25 years experience. So we just classify doctors, nurses, pharmacists, lab technicians, and then we pay them. Of course, it's very, very subjective. And, because it's subjective because the boxes you are putting people in are not scientifically defined all the time. Number 2 is the fact that you're also trying to compare job characteristics and you're not being very scientific. So what does it mean that a doctor's job is more skillful than the job of a nurse when both of them are in the surgery, are doing the surgery together? Of course, it may be the doctor cutting, but the nurse that is giving him what he should do can get him into trouble. So the classification method is very subjective, but it's very easy. It's just the easiest way. All accountants earn $2, all engineers earn this because accountants are more valuable than us. Now, you may do that. Of course, there's also the point method. In this case, you are looking at each position and you're trying to put points or values based on comparators, so skills, effort, and then you add those up to determine what each person gets. Of course, there's also the ranking method. That's the number 3rd one, is when you put everybody in the organization, MD, chairman, you just rank them and then you pay them in that manner, right? It's also very simple, but it's very subjective. So how do you rank the pilot versus the air hostess? How do you rank the accountant who doesn't fly in the plane? Or how do you rank the aircraft engineer versus it? Or how do you rank the architect versus the quantity surveyor? It could be very subjective and it could be also quite a lot of error. And then it could also lead to potential rivalry in the organization because people will not agree with the ranking. Why should you say every doctor should earn more than why should every lecturer earn more than a non-academic staff? For example, in the case of our universities, of course, then there is an improvement of the ranking method, which is a factor comparison method that combines both the points factor and the ranking method together. And it's an improvement. And of course, there is just a simple fact of you go somewhere, get the data, and then take the decision you want to make. So those are the methods. And like I said, you can go online, you can go to YouTube and get some more information about this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I feel we can discuss more nuts and bolts when as professionals. So, but how do you benchmark in a world that is changing? That's a very important question I think we need to put at the back of our mind. So think about this. I said benchmarking boils down to 3 factors, right? So how do you compare when the world is changing? So if everybody around you was fixed, it's easy to compare and say, okay, I am in longitude 2 degrees, latitude 3 degrees, and the other person is in longitude 3 degrees, latitude 3 degrees. It's easy to make a benchmark and say, oh, I'm okay. But how do you benchmark when things are changing, right? When people are changing, the people in the workplace are changing. There are younger people in the workplace. Actually, what is being found is that for the first time in human history, there are 5 generations working together in the workplace. So there are people, I mean, it's worse in a place like Canada. In Canada, we don't have a retirement age. There are people that I work with that are in their 70s and some in their 80s. We all work together. And then there's some 25-year-old person in the organization, right? How do you design a compensation scheme to accommodate an 80-year-old man and then to accommodate a 25-year-old person? How? So when you say, oh, we're offering gym membership, to who? What, or we're paying them retirement benefits. How does a 25-year-old guy care about retirement benefit compared to an 80-year person? There's also a changing demographics. Today, we are having more females in the workplace. And of course, if you work outside Nigeria, you'll have all the issues around gender too. Needs and values are changing. People have better needs, different needs than before. How do you benchmark when that is changing? How do you benchmark when new laws are coming in? Of course, in Nigeria, we're having conversation about the minimum wage. The president of country set up the tripartite committee January 30th of this year. June 5 or so, we went on strike in Nigeria, called us, they didn't call us the strike. Union said that they relaxed it. I told somebody that that is something I've never heard before in all my life, that you are relaxing the strike. You either call a strike, suspend the strike, or end the strike. But Nigeria, we told this three, I said we are relaxing it. Of course, you're also benchmarking in a world where there are outliers. So you are assistant specs, you are a human manager, you are a Deloitte, you are a KPMG, or you are a Chevron, or you are a Shell, or you are a MTN, and somebody just comes and just changes the game. How do you benchmark against that person? Like it happens to the FANG, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and of course Google. They started to create workplaces that look more like hotels than like workplaces. How do you benchmark against them? These guys just showed up and they decided to put ping pong in the office, they decided to put sauna in the office, they decided to put how do you keep up? And of course, the questions of globalization. People now have access to data. So today now, I can know how much a professor is paid in Peru. When I started as an academic, I didn't even know how much a lecturer was paid in Ghana. But today, I can just Google online, how much does a professor pay in Peru or in Bolivia? Now, how do you benchmark? And that's part of the challenge with benchmarking. You think you are competing against Ojo and Ajayi and Sons, but interestingly, you are competing against the whole world because everybody can access your data. So think about tools you need to do benchmarking. Of course, there are tools. Again, this is not a marketing pitch. So I'm not going to mention the name of any particular tool, but you have heard the MD of HumanManager mention what they will be doing. You can also get some data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics of the United States. They also have the same in Canada. The Federal Ministry of Labor in Nigeria does not have the data because they spend most of their time talking about strike. And I hope nobody gets offended with what I said. 2 days ago, today is Thursday. On Tuesday, the Minister for Labor and Productivity met with ASU to talk about their potential strike. Then the same day, she met with Nigeria Bureau of Statistics and International Labour Organization to talk about forced labor in Nigeria. Yesterday, she was at the NECA conference in Lagos to represent the president. And then on yesterday, she also was supposed to participate at the Federal Executive Council meeting to talk about what will be your national minimum wage. That is what our Minister of Labor and Productivity spends the most time for. How do you then think we'll get that strategic direction in terms of labor and manpower to have these statistics? If we don't release these people to do the strategic work, we'll not get the strategic work. And things like salary benchmarking is part of what the government department provides for you, right? So that you don't spend money going to pay people. Of course, you can get data from professional associations. SHRM is, I used to serve on the expert panel. That SHRM is the biggest HR professional institute of the world. They also have a competition data center. Of course, you can use AI. Go to artificial intelligence and just ask questions. How much is the average pay of this? Go to Glassdoor. Glassdoor has a lot of questions around that. So who can help us do benchmarking? Of course, you can use formal sources. In this case, you can use your organization. So you ask your HR department or you ask your talent development team to help you to do that, right? You can use consultants to do that. You can use government records. You can use research agency. You can also use informal sources. Coded sources. So for example, you have a situation where you have a friend that works in another organization that can tell you how much they pay. It's informal. Of course, unions, and I always say this, some of the people that have the access to the most current data on salary changes are unions. They know what they are paying their other colleagues. Of course, there are also informal sources. You can rely on rumors. There are procos, all of those things. There are people that dream and can share revelation of how they pay in another organization. At the end of the day, look out by benchmarking, look in to review what you are doing, make changes, rinse and repeat. Basically, how to link your benchmark with retention. If you look out, you know what others are doing. If you look in, you see what you are doing. If you compare that, then you make changes. And once you make the changes, you rinse and repeat. And that's the only way you can keep your people. Now, what are the mistakes that happens when we benchmark? Number one of the biggest mistakes is a question of poor mechanics. So wrong tools for either getting data or comparing data, not using poor data or using wrong comparators. So MTN wants to benchmark. MTN cannot go and benchmark against ShopRite, right? Because they are not in the same market technically. But it may be reasonable for TVC to benchmark against Channels Television. Another pitfall is that when we don't take any action or we don't make informed decisions around what we're doing. So it seems that the whole idea of benchmarking is to increase salary. That is not correct. You may do a benchmark, but you don't have to increase salary based on certain factors. What is your pay philosophy? Generally, there are those organizations that their pay philosophy is to lead the market. So they want to pay better than others, right? There are also those that want to lag the market. In that case, they want to pay less than others. And of course, there are those that have percentile targets. You'll be shocked that there are many organizations in Nigeria that people say pay very well, but they are percentile targets. They don't pay very well. They only have a target. If the market is paying $100, we'll pay $60 because we are 60% target percentile. You compare to the benchmark and then you decide what you need to do. So what if I do a benchmark and I cannot meet my salary profile, or I realize that I can't pay as much as the market is offering? What should I do? One of the things you want to do is to ask yourself questions like, I can't pay because of the fact that I can't pay what the market is paying. What should I do? Find ways to leverage so you can review your benefits. Offer compensation like commissions and share bonuses. Introduce flex work and work-life balance. So, for example, you realize that, with what has happened in Nigeria in the last couple of months where transport has gone up or transport cost has gone up, you can say, okay, I can't pay more, but work 2 days at home, right? That's a way to leverage. You can also create some form of emotional attraction, right? You want to use emotional intelligence, good leadership, positive work environment to make people not want to leave you. They know they could earn more money elsewhere, but you have used emotional attraction to keep them. You can also think about radical changes like was done in the case of Tesla. Tesla told his staff, for example, we're not going to allow you to join unions, but we're going to give you shares of the company. And this mechanic who was working in GM suddenly becomes a shareholder of Tesla. And if I check the price growth of Tesla's shares, those guys have become millionaires that way. Of course, you can raise wages and also immediately increase productivity and tell people, hey, I'm going to pay you more, but if I pay you more, I am going to insist you do more for me. As I start to think about winding down, I have just a couple of minutes. I don't know how many more minutes I really have. So question is, let us not just benchmark salaries. Let's benchmark total remuneration, which is salary, benefits, and incentives. Let us not only and this is me talking to employers, don't only benchmark financial benefits. Start to benchmark total employee experience. Stop benchmarking only benefits to the employee. Benchmark benefits to the employee and the employee stakeholders. Stop benchmarking based on what you can afford. Start to benchmark to determine what is reasonable. It is important for you to ask yourself, okay, I think I have a better idea of when to stop now, okay? Thanks, Mr. Oluto. So it's important for us to start to change our mind about what we're benchmarking. You can't just say salary because employees are thinking beyond salaries. I'm going to share this experience. I went to Union Bank. I remember where I sat, Union Bank in Lekki, and I had two women beside me. And I think their husbands used to work in the same organization, and one of the husbands has left. So the other woman was asking this lady, what about the organization? And the lady was like, so the lady told the other lady that, you know, when we went to have our bath, interestingly, those two organizations have clinics. So these two women were comparing the delivery in the two clinics. So the one that went into the organization said, if you see how their midwife treated me, is better than where my husband and your husband used to work. These ones are better, they are more professional, they are kinder. And she went on and on. And the woman saying, I'm going to tell the husband, no, my next child must be born in that hospital. And for the first time, I saw people benchmarking how they would birth children in the clinic of their employer as a benchmark data. So it may look funny to you, but people are benchmarking and their stakeholders are also benchmarking, right? Please note there are legal issues in benchmarking. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. There are laws that guide benchmarking in Nigeria. The FCCP law, you know about that, already says that you cannot do price fixing. So you can't, MTN cannot talk to Airtel and say, let's benchmark and pay this money to all our engineers. That's a crime in Nigeria. In Canada, it's a crime. It's a criminal offense for unaffiliated employers to agree to conspire to fix prices, right? Is an antitrust issue, is a criminal offense in Canada. In the US, it's also a criminal offense. Employers are not allowed to share information about their employees' compensation with each other. Actually, 2021, President Biden released an executive order ordering a revision of the law, because what President Biden's argument was that, wait, somebody, a KPMG, a Deloitte, can share information about employee salaries to employers. Why can't he share it to employees? That's where the question is going to now, and we don't know how that is going to work. So be very careful about that. I'm going to mention this case. I don't know how many of us know about Lily Berger. Lily Ledbetter was an employee, female employee that worked for an organization, and then she retired. And as she retired, she realized that her salary was somebody is saying I should show peculiarity of slide 16. Yes, this is slide 16. Okay. That's a slide 16. Ethics and laws. Okay. So let me go back to talk briefly about Lily. Lily was a former staff of an organization. She realized when she retired that she was paid less as a woman, and then she went to court. She lost the case in court, but she was able to influence President Obama, and President Obama signed a law called the Lily Ledbetter Act, which is the first act that was signed by President Obama when he got to the office that talks about benchmarking. Now, I brought this case up for you to realize that your former staff can be benchmarking too. And if there's a gender issue, they can take you to court and you may lose that case. Something to be very sensitive about. So I've talked about the employees view, and I need to start winding up. Employees are also doing benchmarking, and you must also be conscious of that as an employer. They are benchmarking to check internal parity concern. That's why ASU wants to sign an agreement with ASU. NASU wants the same agreement. They are benchmarking to negotiate with you or to ask for better salary. They are benchmarking to seek for other roles. You must be conscious of that. These two data shows the reasons why employees are leaving their jobs. The number one reason, based on the chart I have on the left, is that they want a higher pay, they want better salary. That's why they are thinking about leaving where they currently work. And pay benefits is the most common reason people left their job in 2023, according to a Gallup survey. So people are benchmarking, right? But the interesting thing is that people get attracted to leave because of salary, but they never leave because of salary. Let me repeat that. People want to leave because they want a higher pay. But when they get the offer, it is not the higher pay that makes them go. So look at the data I showed. 25% want to leave because they want a higher pay. But it's only 16% that eventually leave for higher pay. There are other things that attract people, and that's where I'm going to end my conversation on for the next couple of minutes I have. What are those other things that employees are benchmarking? I'm going to show you pictures of 3 people. I know some people in this picture, in this room, will know the 3 people I'm mentioning. The first person is Elon Musk. Elon Musk needs no introduction. That is the maverick that we have found in the world that owns X, that owns SpaceX, that owns Tesla. Not owns, is the majority shareholder. When he became the head of Tesla, he just told them, don't pay me a salary. If I meet a target, give me stock. So there are some people that don't care about salaries. So Elon Musk has proved to us. The man in the middle is a man some of us will also know. That's David Beckham. David Beckham is one of the most glamorous footballers we have seen in the world. David Beckham was played for England, and then he had an opportunity to go and play in the US. And he told them, hey, let's talk salary. Let's talk about shares of the club. The man next to him is the man you don't need, that needs no introduction. That's Lionel Messi. The Messi used to play for Barcelona. Then he went to play for another club, and then he got a call to come and play in America, and he negotiated that I don't want salaries alone. I want to be a part owner of this business. So there's certain people that they don't want to benchmark salaries. They want more than salaries, and they don't care really about salaries. So the idea of focusing on salaries alone is like not understanding the full pictures. But some people care about salary. I mean, ask yourself this question. Why do ASU members complain about their salary, but they don't resign? Why? There must be something keeping them on the job, because it can't just be about salaries, because they said the salary is too little. And they now, let me say this by the side. When I was lecturing at the University of Lagos, my last salary at the University of Lagos was 50,000 per month as a lecturer too when I left. 50,000 a month. When I started teaching at the Lagos Business School of the Pan-African University, I was being paid 45,000 per hour to teach. Get the scenario, Unilag, 45,000 a month. That was my salary. Is it 45 or 50,000? I can't remember, for a month. A couple of years back, I went to teach at the Lagos Business School part-time at that point, and I was being paid 45,000 naira to teach per hour. But why did everybody not leave to go to Lagos Business School? Something is retaining them. So it's not just about salaries, and that's why we must not just only focus on salaries when we're talking about benchmarking. People leave because of fear, of job security, of the fact that they want to booga and say, I'm a prof of Unilag or UI at the end of the day. So who cares about salary? Typically the inexperienced, the uninitiated, the young, the undifferentiated talents. Those are the ones that care about salaries. Now, if these are the kind of people you want to attract, then only benchmark salaries. But if you want to attract people that are different from this, then you can't benchmark. Remember, the market rewards people who benchmark. We call them the job hoppers. Job hoppers are people that leave their job at a frequent rate than the average person. They earn more income, they grow faster. So if my friend now, Mr. Yusuf, stays in this organization for the next 10 years, all he gets is promotions, or all he gets is annual salary increase, or whatever he gets, or commission, whatever. But if he goes to another company, he can get promotion, he can get annual salary increase, he can get it. Now, because people realize that the ecosystem encourages job hopping, that's why they benchmark. So it is all that have created incentives for people. So as I close, my last slide. What are the best practices? Think about it. Why should you bother? How does it fit into your talent and competitive strategy? You must be conscious of that. use reputable consultant. Please, please, please don't just use one person beside the road. Determine what you want to benchmark. Be flexible. Things are changing. So people may be comparing salaries before, but now they're no more comparing salaries. They've been comparing total experience. And then when you benchmark, always remember to ask that simple question. How well or what will I do with the data I have? Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate your time for allowing me to share this with you. And I hope you got some knowledge or some insight on this. Thank you. And then as I turn it back to the moderator. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Yomi Fawehinmi. I mean, you did justice to this conversation. Can you see me? All right. Okay. Thank you very much once again, Professor Yomi Fawehinmi. I mean, beyond doubt, you have done justice to this conversation today. You have given us a direction for this conversation today. And quickly, I would like to just do a recap of what Prof, has told us this morning in his speech. All right, so he started by letting us know what salary benchmarking is, where he said it is the process of whereby an organization, a company or an organization putting their best, the practices. Sorry, I take that again. So he mentioned, he gave us a definition into salary benchmarking, and also how to determine how salaries and benefits measure up against industry standards. Then he also talked about who is benchmarking. He mentioned employees are benchmarking. He told us that organizations are also benchmarking, where he talked about competitors, he talked about new entrants, and he also talked about potential poachers. And also, he also talked about the government also benchmarking. Then he mentioned why organizations, benchmark. Now, the first one which he mentioned was to play defense. And also the second one is to play offense, while the third one is to hold the middle field, to retain. And thereafter, Prof also talked about benchmarking methods, which is very important in this conversation. He talked about data, he talked about comparison, he talked about insight, and also we also looked at action. Then Prof moved further when he also talked about benchmarking methods. The first one on the list was a classification method. He also talked about the point factor method. He also talked about the ranking method. He talked about the factor comparison method and also the competitive market analysis method. Now, where it got interesting was when also Prof talked about how we benchmark in a changing world. You will agree with me that the world is evolving, day by day, year in, year out. So he highlighted some of the ways we can benchmark in a changing world. He mentioned people, he mentioned demographics, he mentioned need and values. He also mentioned new laws, including minimum wage and transparency laws. Then he also talked about the role of outliers. And finally, he talked about globalization being ways whereby we can benchmark in an evolving world. Then Prof also told us about the salary benchmarking service providers, which are the formal sources, the informal sources, and also the very informal sources, where he mentioned rumors and apropos when he said that. All right, thank you very much. And Prof, I wouldn't, when you mentioned, when I saw Lionel Messi, I said, well, I think I will give you kudos because that's my GOAT for football. So if you had mentioned somebody else, I don't want to mention the other person who is not a GOAT, but that is my GOAT you mentioned there. All right, so Prof, thank you very much for giving us that keynote address to give us a direction for this conversation. All right, so right now we will be doing going into another poll. We want to get your perspectives for this. Oh, okay. Before we go into the poll, then we're going to be going into the panel session right now. But so this is where we'll be asking our panelists questions. So I'm sure Esther Seye-Ogun, Aderonke Adegoke, they're ready, and also Professor Yomi Fawehinmi will also be doing justice together to that together this morning. All right. So, Prof, earlier on, while you were giving us your keynote address, I would like us to make this practicable. I mean, make it relatable. So, can you share examples of, non-monetary benefits that have successfully, attracted employees, and what are the emerging trends in compensation and benefit? Do you think we shape the Nigerian job market? I want us to, make this relatable, based on your experience so far, Prof.
Okay, thanks. One of the things that I've come to see, it's also depending, I mean, we need to think about the kind of talent we're really talking about here. So if you notice, for example, in Nigeria, the managing director of banks typically would not collect salary. They always want to function something to reflect their performance. That's why the late Wigwe was a very rich man. I mean, in terms of his performance, what he was getting from the bank was not the result of his work. It was the result of what everybody was doing in Access Bank. And I'd say that not as a disrespect to him, but Nigeria has created a structure where, for example, bank MDs, and I don't know why we agreed to it, honestly. I don't know why. We start to earn an incentive, not a salary. So it's important for us to remember total remunerations are three things. One, salaries, two, benefits, and three, incentives. So you can attract people with salary, which is like the base of what they want, right? So that's something you pay more, pay more. I mean, that's the only thing, pay more, pay more, pay more. Number two, you can then say, okay, what is the second thing? If I can't compete on salary, you can compete on benefits. So work from home, flex work. I told you people comparing maternity wards, for example. So retirement benefits. Why do people go to work for Shell and Chevron and they don't go? It's because those people have created benefit structures that are bangled. You know what they call benefit bangles? No, sorry, ANCOP benefits. You know what that concept means? ANCOP benefits are benefits created to handcuff your career and your future. So, for example, I say, when you turn 10 years working for me, I'll give you a car. When you turn 15 years, I give you a house. When you turn 17 years, I'll give you a pay. It's not a benefit, it's an anchor. They're just anchoring your destiny to them, right? So you can use those benefits to retain people, right? And that's what people talk about. And I always tell people when they are talking about this thing, don't ever give benefit that people can't carry home, right? If it's a benefit, it must be carryable in Nigeria so that when they get home, their wife and children can see it. So I will not give you 13th month. I will give you a bag of rice and chicken. So that when you are carrying it home, your wife and children will see, or your husband and will see the bag and say, well, your employer gave you rice. You will die there. You will not resign. You cannot go, right? End of year, and then so that's benefit. Then incentives is okay, we meet a target, we have bonus, we have a commission, we have all of those things. So those are practical things I want to do. I'm going to give you an experience I have, and just for you for us to relate with it better. A friend of mine was working for an oil company and told the children that she was resigning from the oil company to go to work for another oil company in Lagos. And the only question the children asked her is that, in this new oil company, are they going to be holding end-of-year parties for children? She said, no, they give vouchers. So the children say, okay, take us to the company. We want to see what the company looks like. So this, my friend, drove to the company. I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but the company is around Marina and is an oil company and is on a high-rise building. So they drove, I'm not mentioning the name for people who start looking for trouble. So they drove to the front of the company. So she said, this is the company. The children were young in the car. So they looked up, it's like 13 stories. They said, you could take us to the back. So she turned, that company, if you know the company, you can turn to the left and go to the back, right? And then they turned. So the children said, where is the company? She said, the company is in this building. So the children asked her, so mommy, where do they do end of year party for their children? The woman said they will give, no, they don't do end of year party, because in the company where she was working, they had a big field that every Christmas they bring the children of staff to come and play, right? So, and then they do bring your children to work and all of that. So the children were asking, so where is the field where you would be able to do that? And they said there was not. Those children, permit me, those people that read the Bible, the Bible will say, the children will say, lifted up their voice and wept. They wept from Sunday till Monday because they said their mom is selfish, their mom is self-centered, and she doesn't care about them. She has gone to work in a company that does not do end of year party for children. That is the only reason why this woman was in problem, whether she picked the job or not. Right. So that's a benefit, not a salary, end of year benefit. But like I say, in Nigeria, your benefit must be visual and not what a man or a woman can put in her pocket. She must be able to carry it through.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for doing justice to that as well. When you mentioned handcuff benefits and the likes, I remembered someone was shared with me that there is one company then that once you are done, they will give you a Rolex wristwatch after, for retirement. And I'm like, whoa. So after many years of service, is Rolex wristwatch that you get to go home with. All right, now, notwithstanding that, we'll go on to, I think I want to direct my next question to Aderonke Adegoke. Aderonke is pumped off. Thank you, Aderonke, for joining us this morning once again. Okay, now, Aderonke, I know you, of course, with your over a decade experience. Now, I would like you to, give us insight to how salary expectations differ across various industries in Nigeria, such as tech, finance, where you have experience manufacturing, and then also tell us the biggest challenges Nigerian companies face when conducting salary benchmarking. So over to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. And when I was listening to Prof speak about HR, the salary benchmarking generally, I picked a lot of things where he said that people actually have what they want to earn, and employees have what they want to earn, the companies have what they want to pay. And when it comes to salary benchmarking, people have expectation based on their skill set, based on their level of education, based on the complexity of the work itself. However, when we talk about salary benchmarking per sector, it is dependent on the kind of sector you operate. You won't be able to compare what an MTN will pay to what a bank is going to pay you. And for people operating in technology sector, especially tech startups, it's a bit more dicey for them because we have big players in the system, like the likes like Microsoft, like Google, and there's this guy just starting up and he's saying, okay, I want to come into the tech space. For that kind of person, what we've seen is that they then tend to put a lot more in terms of salary for their employees so that they can be able to attract the right set of people for them. Is it sustainable for a startup? The answer may be no, because what we've then seen is that the person uses a lot of salary to incentivize his people to attract them, but they can't retain them because it's not sustainable, because they're benchmarking themselves with bigger companies that they don't even operate in the same at the same size or efficiency. In addition to that, in terms of the interplay between other sectors like finance sector, manufacturing sector, in Nigeria especially, we've seen what dollar, naira, what the interplay between dollar and naira, what it has happened to us right now. We've seen devaluation. And when you look at that devaluation, you see a sector saying that, oh, I'm not doing so well because I import a lot of my raw materials. And you see another sector, because of the kind of service they provide, they are declaring huge profits. So based on that, you would see that at the end of it all, it's about the bottom line, which is the net profit, which they would then use to determine what they want to pay their employees or what they want to use as benchmarking. So when you're talking about challenges that we've seen so far, you look at the kind of companies you want to compare yourself with. You have to compare apples with apples or oranges with oranges. It would be wrong for you to compare tomato to pepper. It's very, very terrible. So you need to look at people that you operate in the same space, that you have the same size, that you're getting talents from, and will most likely take talents from you. In addition to that, you need to look at confidentiality. I know Prof has talked about antitrust laws, and Prof has talked about antitrust laws, and you need to look at how the people that you want to get data from, are they willing to give you the right data set? It's very, very important. Prof also talked about job matching. That is very, very critical. He talked about on what basis will you say this? You should pay a doctor more than a nurse. So you need to match the job correctly, and communication of results is also very, very critical. It's one of the challenges. So you've done a fantastic benchmarking. You've not communicated to your employees. They don't know why you're doing what you're doing. So amidst all this, now I'll just stop here so that I don't take a lot of time, but communication is key to benchmarking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aderonke. I mean, you talked about comparing like organizations alike, not just comparing with in different sector. So like you said, all right. So we conducted a poll earlier on. I'm coming to you now, Esther Seye-Ogun. So I would want you to speak to this. We conducted a poll earlier on where we talked about how competitive are salary levels in the job market, and then also what are the key factors, influencing salary structures in Nigeria and across Africa. So the poll result came out. This is what we have here. We have economic conditions, we have industry standards, we have government regulations, and then we have company performance. Then we also have skills qualifications. So could you speak to this, why people selected, why people, decided to go for these different answers as we have here? So with the top, with economic conditions topping the list here with 43%, then also company performance here as 30%.
Okay, thank you very much, Fawehinmi. I don't know, can I still have the poll up? So
okay, yes,
take
please.
a look at that. Yeah, so I'm not particularly surprised that economic conditions top the list. We would know that in the last 1 year, a lot has changed, a lot has happened to Nigeria. And by economic conditions, I know people are also talking about, the removal of the fuel subsidy, the Naira, devaluation of the Naira, and this has impacted salary structures. I can say for a fact that in the last 1 year, the market has moved by quite a lot. You'd see, from our experience carrying out surveys, you see that a lot of organizations did salary reviews like 2 times or 3 times. So yes, this really has a major impact on salary structures. The other thing that I didn't see here is also the demand for the type of skills. I know skills and qualifications was actually the lowest here, but just like Aderonke had mentioned, that different industries, have different pay ranges and pay levels. And based on the demand of those kind of skills, it typically affects the kind of salary structures in those industries. Like the fintech, these skills, the demand is really high for talent in the fintech industry, even in the technological space. And so you find out that the salary structures for these organizations in these industries are quite high. And that is something important to note. Government regulations, yes, there are certain government regulations that can also impact, the kind of, salary structures in the different industries, company performance. Ronke had also mentioned something about maybe a small size company going into a particular industry. And because you want to attract the kind of talent in that industry, you end up having to pay really, really big for those talents. However, the question is it sustainable, right? whatever you're doing in terms of salary structure, it has to be sustainable. If not, at the end of the day, it won't. You would have issues in future being able to attract and even retain your talent. And then the other question is regarding common reasons for employees leaving their job. So low salary compensation came up as the highest.
Yes,
I like the fact that Prof had mentioned that, it's not just about the paychecks. Things changed in the last 5 years, especially after the COVID-19 event. A lot of people start looking at life beyond, or having jobs beyond just the pay. Beyond the pay, people, more of I would even say the Gen Z, the workforce, the Gen Z part of the workforce that, we have the Gen Z, they've started looking at, having work-life balance. So yes, you're paying me this particular amount, but I want to be able to have time to spend with my family. Yes, salary, what my take home is still a major factor, but then people are beginning to look at other things, career growth. So if I'm in a particular organization, what does it look like in the next couple of years, right? Prof mentioned something about job offers, how they get to have a faster career growth and in terms of pay. So you find a lot of people leaving jobs or hopping jobs to be able to get that experience. And to an extent, these things that we've mentioned are major factors that would influence, people leaving their jobs. Like I'd mentioned, not just salary. You have a lot of people, when we're recruiting for organizations, the question is beyond the pay. Do I have a flexible working arrangement? Do I get to be able to spend time with my family, even though I'll be working late into the night? But the fact that I'm with my family, it makes a lot of difference. So.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. And you talked about having a sustainable salary structure, to keep employees. And okay, thank you, Prof. I know you are outside the country, and you've had opportunity, to at a point in different points whereby you've spoken with a lot of people, and then so could you also tell us, I mean, based on what we see here, based on the poll result, with low salary being topping the list with 52%. So could you also tell us the common reasons employees leave their jobs in Nigeria? I mean, just add to what Esther has said. Do you have something to also add to that, please?
As they say in National Assembly, I support the last speaker. Human beings are human beings. Whatever language you call it, the basic model of employees come to work for many reasons, but bottom line typically remains what they get. I mean, forget all this. It's my passion, all those things. My son can say it's his passion. That's why he works. It's because he has a father that can take care. When rubber is the road, again, let's get back to secondary school when they taught us economics. Remember the 4 factors of production? They said the reward for land is rent, the reward for labor is salary. So at the end of the day, people respond to salary at the end of the day. But, because of the changing world, people come to bring reasons. A lady, an HR partner, resigned her job because of the war in the Gaza Strip, right? I mean, that happened like 2 weeks ago. It was all over the LinkedIn, right? She said she was resigning because of the attitude of her employers to what was happening in the Gaza Strip, right? This week, an employee, a policeman in Kenya, resigned because of the demonstrations in Kenya when she realized that they have killed some people. Of course, you remember that when the June 12 election was cancelled, there were some army officers that resigned and retired from the army because they felt scandalized. There are outliers that have all that reason, but at the end of the day, salaries and general conditions of service is what is like the bottom line at the end of the day. But as people start to meet their basic needs, if you go back to the Maslow's theory, as people start to overcome their basic needs, then they start to think about need for esteem. They start to think about this. I mean, why did Bola Ahmed Tinubu go and become president? He was already running. It's not salary. How much is the salary? His salary is not up to my salary. I mean, it's not because of salary, but I mean, it's a sense of accomplishment, what he wants to achieve in life. I mean, so people start to get, once people have met their basic need, then they start to look for what they call second order requirements to one day. I mean, and then they start to do that. Of course, let me also mention the question of job title is also what some people chase after, right? So maybe, for example, Madam Esther is called manager in Deloitte and Madam Adegoke calls manager. And then you give them the same salary, but you now give them a bigger title. They may go because of that. I know for me personally, I always tell people that the title I want in this world is that title called permanent secretary. I like that title. It's permanent. You can't go. I mean, and people kill themselves to become permanent secretary. I told a friend of mine, I said, the biggest deception in the world is that you are called a permanent secretary. He said, why? I said, because the person that was a former permanent secretary is no more there. So what's permanent about your being a secretary? But that same person that is going to kill to become a permanent secretary did not like when she was a secretary. She did not like the title secretary. Oh my God, secretary. That's why they created a cadre called confidential secretary. I mean, to show that we are different from the secretary. But then this same person, after many years, is fighting to become permanent secretary. So how did secretary change to permanent secretary? And then people have a different attitude. So again, you know, you were asking what can you use to induce people? You can give them big job titles. It makes some people happy. I once had a driver that was a graduate, was my private driver. And he came to ask me, he said, sir, what is going to be my job title? And I just asked him a question. You are a graduate. You are the one that said you want to drive me. I can't call you a driver. I said, what title do you like? He said he doesn't know, but he needs to be able to update his CV. I said, now, what do? You drive? You do logistics. Call yourself logistic coordinator. Wow. He said, is that going to be in his letter of employment? I said, am I not the one going to write the letter of employment? Or do you want another one, director of logistics? Because that's what you are doing as my driver. So this guy was my driver. He's a graduate of accounting. And then what he has on his letter of appointment is logistic coordinator. And I told him, now that your job title is logistic coordinator, you will do many things. When there is no fuel, you will go and buy fuel and you hustle because it's logistic. You are no more driver. And driver is inside logistics. So the guy decided to stay with me. And the guy was with me for almost 4 years because he had a job title that was big. So he has a resume that he updates and when he does stuff. And it's occasionally tell him maybe something happened during Christmas. We ask him to go and buy a cow, we ask him to go and buy goods. Update your resume to show that your logistics also includes taking care of living things, non-living things. If you store fuel inside garage, that's warehousing. It's part of the logistics job you are doing. The guy left the place to go and become an accountant in one international company in Lagos from me, my driver, because he had a job title that's met his career goal. So,
right
to think about.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Yomi Fawehinmi, for that insightful contribution. All right. So quickly before I come back to Aderonke Adegoke, so for our for the audience, I know you would also want to ask questions. We want our panelists to also do justice to the questions you have. So the comment section is actually open. We are monitoring. Please kindly drop your questions, and then we will be taking this conversation, the conclusion, anytime from now. So we would also want to have your question. Please drop them, and then we'll address them rather. Thank you very much. All right. So now to Aderonke Adegoke. We know there are techniques, right, to attract top talent. Now, could you tell us the most effective techniques in attracting top talent, for a particular role and across different sectors? Could you tell us the most effective techniques, please?
Okay, I think sorry, I think I'm not muted. Compensation remains a very, very important a deal breaker for a lot of people, and compensation goes beyond pay. It's about remuneration, benefits that you're going to get, the incentives that look very attractive to you, whether it's long-term, performance-based, or short-term, depending on what you're hoping to get from the organization. So in addition to compensation, there's something called employer branding. So there are people that want to join an organization because the name of the employer is big, or maybe because the employer is a multinational company or works across different jurisdictions and locations. They don't just want to work for a local brand that is just in one village, maybe my village in your state. They don't want that. They want a big company that has branches across the 36 states, across Africa, across the world. They want a global brand. So a lot of people can be attracted because of the brand name, not just the pay. And there are some people that are attracted based on the value proposition of an organization. What are you known for? So in terms of the mission statement, the vision statement, there are people that would say, okay, I want to work with this organization because it aligns with my value. So if an organization does not align with your value, then you won't want to work for them. So we have people that, for religious reasons, they won't work in some organization in the manufacturing sector just because of the fact that it does not align with their values. I had a friend one time ago that said that, okay, as much as I love this job, I can't work for some people that produce some certain types of products because it does not align with these values. So you look at the kind of things that the organizations have to offer the employees. So that really, really matters when you're looking at, which is about value proposition and the company's culture itself. And again, you need to understand the demography of the people you want to attract. So if an organization wants to attract Gen Zs, you need to make salary juicy. Let me use the normal parlance. If your salary is not juicy enough in terms of cash, then people won't be attracted to your organization. If you want to attract people towards the retirement age, you need to make your retirement benefits attractive to them. You won't say, okay, because the law specifies 8% or 10%, that is what you're going to pay, because they're getting closer to retirement. You need to look at what you're going to put in your benefit. So, and again, compensation goes beyond salaries, like I said earlier. It's about the total rewards. It's about compensation, benefit, work-life balance, work-life continuum. It's about career growth. It's about career progression. It's about performance reward. There are some people that want to be rewarded for whatever they've gotten. So you and I, let's say you and I would get a job in a multinational firm. We don't want a situation where it's because you know the MD that you're being promoted and I'm not being promoted. It's about what we've put in together into the organization. That should be the basis. So if people know that this organization is a performance-driven organization, I can assure you they will definitely be attracted to come into such organization. And the last on my point, like that is coming to my mind right now, is about job security also. Some people are attracted to come to an organization if there's security for them. If they know that, okay, tomorrow this organization will not wind down, or when come rain, come sunshine, they will still have their role. They'll definitely be attracted to come to such an organization. Thank you.
Aderonke. Okay, while we wait for questions from the comment section, so the next question will be going to Esther Seye-Ogun. Yes, this will be the last question from my own desk here. All right. Okay, let me see. I think we have questions here. Okay. Okay, so for the other time when Professor Yomi Fawehinmi was giving his keynote address, he talked about data and the likes, and then salary data and the likes. Now, Esther, now, do you think we have a reliable salary data here in Nigeria? And if no, then how can organizations, overcome the lack of reliable salary data in the Nigerian market? And then you can also give us innovative approaches Nigerian companies have taken to improve their salary benchmarking process. So do you think we do? And if we don't, could you give us the reasons, why organizations, overcome the lack of reliable salary data?
Okay, thank you so much for that, Opayemi. So when you mentioned about reliability of data, the question is, what approach are you adopting, right? How are you gathering your data? different ways organizations do this is, they engage the services of consulting firms that, regularly do the surveys. And they also use data that they've gotten from, internal data, either through exit interviews. So sometimes you might get to find out that an employee is moving to a competition or a competitor rather. If they are willing to share that information, yes, you can get that. Another way is also when you are recruiting employees, you also get that information from them. When it comes to data, informal data, I won't say they're not particularly reliable, because just like, we've been talking about, remuneration, we've been talking about salary. So when you look at total remuneration, it's not just regarding your take home, your salary. You have a different component of total remuneration. You have the fixed pay, which is what typically people refer to as the take home pay. Like Doctor also mentioned, we have the benefit. We have variable pay, which is the short-term incentives and the long-term incentives. So when you're looking at total remuneration or data, salary data, so to speak, you should look at everything. Prof also mentioned something regarding also experiences. So beyond just the salary data, you also want to look at what's the experiences, what kind of perks are they giving employees in the comparator organization? Do they give them things like crèche? Do they give them like gym memberships? Do they give them opportunities to travel with their family once in a year? So when it comes to data, I don't think the only way you can be sure of getting the right kind of data is when you participate in data in salary compensation surveys conducted by firms that do this, right? Because that way you're sure that they'll be getting it from the source, they'll be validating the information. Regarding accuracy of data, that even when it comes to sharing information, there are some organizations that will still withhold certain information due to maybe they have confidentiality issues. Maybe for top executives, there are some things they'll probably not mention, but it's more reliable to engage the services of consulting firms when getting that. But notwithstanding, you can get data from other sources, right? And everything would, come to that. I know that you can also get data from sites like PayScale, Glassdoor, those are the little information you can get on the practices, on the work culture. In fact, what most employees do is when they are also, applying for a job, they don't just stop there to say, okay, what are you offering me? They go online to say, okay, what is the work culture? What are they saying about this organization? So you're also benchmarking experiences, not just salary compensation. I wouldn't say we're there yet. I'm not sure it can ever get to a point where you can get accurate data online or through informal conversations, because there would always be that bit of confidentiality. But to an extent, you can get some things that you need. And your best bet is actually to engage the services of firms that provide the services.
Thank you, Esther Seye-Ogun. You did justice to that, and I can see in the comment section that the feedback here, your submission on the questions asked and that of Aderonke and Prof too has been receiving encomium from people, and I think people are actually enjoying this conversation. And I can also tell that they would want us to have more of this from from time to time. Now there is a question here I want to throw to Aderonke. Yes, what's the question again? Okay. So it says, it says, please, how do you leave a job you are emotionally attached to? I mean, what solution, what answer can you provide to that, Aderonke?
Okay, I'm going to take my answer from Prof's presentation, because I actually noted something. He said, "Who faithfulness help." And when I saw that line on that slide, and I totally understood that, because that's the slide that had the job offers. When you change, what we've seen so far is that when people change careers, they tend to go for a higher role. So when you hop, you grow faster, and then they also get compensated better, because as you're asking for a better role or a higher pay, you're asking for something more to compensate yourself. So if you're attached to your organization, maybe because they boboed you in terms of giving you a good work-life balance, helping your maybe the organization is not even toxic, because we have a lot of issues where people are getting higher pay, but the work environment is toxic. Automatically, people would definitely want to leave such organization. Then you need to ask yourself what really matters to you, and are your organizations is your organization meeting that particular need? So if what matters to you is career growth, and you are being promoted every 6 months, and the pay is also good, then you should stay with your organization. But if they are promoting you every 6 years, but they are giving you incentive like shares or bonuses, but there's another person out there that is going to pay you more or has better offer, I think what you can do is to evaluate critically to see what matters to you, what drives you, what motivates you. Prof talked about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Where do you fall in that hierarchy of needs? Have you gotten to self-realization or actualization, or are you still under basic need? So if you're still under basic need, no matter how they want to tie you to the organization, you need to cut yourself and go. But if you've gotten to a place of self-actualization, and what you need is a better role or a better name or a greater job title, then you may need to work on that and then move based on that. But you need to evaluate. It's a personal decision, and you need to evaluate based on what you actually want and not just what the organization has to offer. Thank you. I hope I've been able to answer that.
You have honestly. And when you started, I remember a friend of mine once told me that when he got employed in an organization, and the CEO, or let me say the CEO of the organization, welcomed him and said, "Oh, you're welcome. This place is a family space, so we see ourselves as family." And down the line, in less than a year, family was not family again. So things like that, it happens. So to be emotionally attached, well, like you said, and Prof also noted, who faithfulness help. All right. So before we take last words from our panelists and our professor, keynote speaker, so continue this conversation. We continue this conversation online and on the social media platform. So we'll be using the hashtag CCC, or the Corporate Catalyst conversation. So you can join us on our Instagram page. You can join us on Twitter. You can also join us on LinkedIn, and also on Facebook, where we continue this conversation and promise to always give you interesting topics like this. All right. We'll be taking a poll. Just before we take the poll, okay, I think we should take the poll now, before we hear from our panelists and also our keynote speaker, what they have to say to round up, and then we call this conversation, we'll bring it to an end. All right, so the poll we are taking right now will be coming up on our screen. All right, so can we have the poll up on our screen? So it says, in overall, how satisfied were you with the webinar? So you're going to give us, indicate there. And secondly, how well did the webinar meet your expectations? And finally, we also have the third one here. How likely are you to attend future webinars, Corporate Catalyst Conversations editions organized by HumanManager? Then you can tell us also, what was your first salary? It was interesting when the managing director of HumanManager told us that our first salary was 7,000 Naira. And then you can also tell us the year as well. So, all right, while the poll is going on, and it will be taken down in less than 30 seconds. So would love to hear in just 45 seconds from Prof, from Esther Seye-Ogun, from Aderonke Adegoke. I would start from Aderonke Adegoke. In 45 seconds, can you give us, just round this conversation up, what we should take home from this conversation? Aderonke.
Okay, thank you so much for Thank you so much for having me. And I think my key take home from me is that when you're looking at salary benchmarking and compensation, you shouldn't just look at your take home pay. And when you're comparing yourself with people, you need to understand that the space they may be operating may be different from where you are actually operating. And that tax is also very, very important, because I need to bring it in, because you may have a friend that is actually having the same total cost of employment with you, but taxes, because of the way they've structured their salary, taxes may have eroded yours, and he's earning more, or he's having more net salary or more take home pay. So there are a lot of things that people consider when it comes to salary, and you need to get a good consultant that would take you through that entire process, walk you through and manage you till you get to the place of communication and telling your employees why you're doing what you're doing in terms of your pay philosophy and what you're doing right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aderonke, and good to have you on this conversation. Okay, Esther, what's your take home for today?
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for having me here. So I'll look at salary benchmarking from two perspectives. From the employer part, when it comes to benchmarking pay, you should not just be looking at, the salary compensation. You should also be looking at, when you're looking at benchmarking yourself, you should also look at the size of your organization, the industry you play in, who you lose talent to, who you hire talent from when setting your comparator organizations. And as much as possible, you also need to look at the dynamics of the workforce now. You need to know what interests them. So if you're recruiting a millennial, what motivates them is different from what motivates a Gen Z. So you look at that aspect. Then when it comes to employees, when looking at pay, or when you're being recruited for a role, when you're looking at joining an organization, don't just look at the take-home pay. Look at what are the perks, what are the benefits I'll be getting. Look at the workplace culture. Try to get information on even the person you'll be working with. It's very important. So look at everything in general. And a lot of organizations right now, especially for tech companies, are offering what they call stock options, restricted stock units. Some of these tech companies have gone up to be very, their valuation has gone up to be very big. So that's an opportunity to be a shareholder in the business as well. So look at things from that perspective as well when you are looking to join an organization. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Esther. Thank you very much. Prof, in just 45 seconds, I hope you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best. Again, let me thank everybody for being part of it. I think for employers, it's important for us to take this benchmarking seriously. Benchmark everything. I mean, not just money, benchmark everything. And for employees too, it's good for you to also benchmark. Please note that you can always negotiate for a better salary. And on the final note, I think you should benchmark against yourself. Are you getting better? Because this question of I want to earn more does not answer the full picture. If you improve yourself, you're likely to attract a better salary. So what were you last year? What were you this year? I had a boss that told me that you should get a new degree every 10 years after you graduate. That you should just look back and say, when last did I go to school? I'm not going to school in the long time. Yeah, I'm going back. I mean, just go learn something. You may not need to go to a formal school, but have some structure, some form of structured learning. And at the end of the day, but we need to benchmark against our performance. You're a good accountant, you can become a better accountant, and then you'll be able to attract the right salaries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Esther Seye-Ogun. Thank you, Aderonke Adegoke. I mean, you all have done justice to this topic, and I can tell by the comment I'm seeing here in the comment section, and people are calling for more. And we hope that when next we call on you, of course, you honor our invitation. But just before we go, we'd like to have a closing remark from the head of brands and marketing for HumanManager Limited, in person of Olakunle Yusuf. Please, over to you, Mr. Yusuf.
So, good morning, everyone. So it's been a pleasure having all of you for the past 1.5 hours or thereabouts, listening to these conversations. This is one of our contributions to growing the HR industry in Nigeria, having those conversations that people have always had on the corridors. We want to bring them into the open. And this is the second edition this year. Next. Conversations that go on. We have a blog where some topical HR issues. We have where topical issues are discussed. So you can get access to those from our website, from our blog. I think one of my colleagues will share the link to the blog site as we speak. And to close, I'd like to say a special thank you to Professor Yomi Fawehinmi. I told him yesterday that I'm very happy getting him to be awake at 3 a.m. Even though we are 11 o'clock in Nigeria. I said I was happy that I'm keeping her awake at 3 a.m. We are not taking it for granted that you spend time to, and you were committed to this from the first moment we spoke. Esther, thank you so much for creating time. Aderonke, thank you so much. Of course, KPMG and Deloitte, they've been our partners for as long as I can remember, and I know that we can always knock on the door and get resource from you at no notice. To all our guests, we thank you so much for showing up. And last but not the least, a very big thank you to the MD of HumanManager Limited for giving us the platform to be able to reach out to our customers this way, our friends, our colleagues in the industry. But thank you so much for giving us this platform to be able to do this. And Okwe, congratulations. Despite all odds, we still got you out of your house to come here today. Congratulations on the arrival of your new baby. And it's this time we're coming to eat rice in your place. Once again, thank you, everyone. And next time, we hope to see you. Please tell a friend to tell a friend for the next time. And this conversation will continue on our social media platforms. The handle has been shared, and I hope that we'll continue to do that. Thank you very much, everyone, once again.
All right, thank you very much, Olakunle Yusuf, for the closing remarks. And then just before we call it a day, like he noted, you'll be getting an email after this conversation in your email addresses. Please be on the lookout. All right, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is where we draw the curtain for today's conversation. It has been wonderful and insightful. Thank you to everyone who participated. And we hope that when next we roll it out, we roll out the drums, you will be joining us for the conversation once again. This is where I say thank you and bye for now.
Thank you.
EDIC. Apply for leave, on duty and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solution available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employee self-service empowers your employees with easy and quick access to manage their profile, process claim and reimbursement with no headache, apply for leave, on duty and overtime payments, generate pension as well as tax, and pension deductions analysis, and a lot more. With HumanManager, you can also access an employee information system for updated personnel and corporate information, leave management for all leave types, and paid time off work for different grades of employees, automate your expense management including claims, reimbursement, loans, and advances, all under one umbrella. Stay in charge of exit formalities through our exit management model. Deploy timesheet for the control of labor costs and working hours. Boost performance through our industry-leading appraisal model. Visit HumanManager.net for a demo today and enjoy the benefits of trailblazing payroll and HR software solution. For more information, email us at info@humanmanager.net. Maintaining your organization's payroll and managing employees' database manually could be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solution available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple industries globally. HumanManager makes it exceptionally easy for businesses of all sizes to manage their HR and payroll needs conveniently at any time and from anywhere in the world. With our integrated system, you can enjoy round-the-clock access, end-to-end multiple payroll processing at its best, appraisal management, configurable workflows, interactive dashboards, leave processing, claims and reimbursement management, and so much more. Our employee self-service empowers your employees with easy and quick access to manage their profile, process claim and reimbursement with no headache, apply for leave, on-duty and overtime payments, generate pension as well as tax and pension deductions analysis, and a lot more. With HumanManager, you can also access an employee information system for updated personnel and corporate information, leave management for all leave types, and paid time off work for different grades of employees, automate your expense management including claims, reimbursement, loans, and advances, all under one umbrella. Stay in charge of exit formalities through our exit management model. Deploy timesheet for the control of labor costs and working hours. Boost performance through our industry-leading appraisal model. Visit HumanManager.net for a demo today and enjoy the benefits of trailblazing payroll and HR software solution. For more information, email us at info@humanmanager.net. Maintaining your organization's payroll and managing employees' database manually could be tasking and time-consuming. And like all businesses, you would like to access employees' data and payroll with a few clicks and put an end to all your worries. You can achieve this and much more with our web-based HumanManager, which delivers impressive ease, eagle-eye access, and security to users like you. First developed over 25 years ago, HumanManager is one of the best web payroll and HR management software solution available today and is preferred by thousands of businesses across multiple